And hello, everybody. Welcome to the Calgary Real Estate Show. This is the Thursday, May 23rd edition. And Jaden, good morning. It's back to the old school. It's just me and you today.
Yeah, I'm feeling special. I'm feeling like we just got our special time together again. This is fantastic.
This is how, for those of you that haven't seen the show before, this is how we used to do it. Just me and Jaden. And, it's like we're the two thorns and our rose. Natalie could not make it today. So we will see her again next week.
Yeah.
Next week. All right, well, let's get to our weekly stats here. And, I'm not sure if this is a May long thing. I think that's what it is, because we're significantly down from last week in both new listings and sales. So sales down to 658 for the week, new listings down to 595. My guess is that will go up again next week. Just with May long, I think interrupts a lot of people's plans, even though the weather was horrible. Jaden, I don't know how it was in Crossfield, but down here in Southwest Calgary, it was just rainy and cold all weekend. A couple of moments of sun.
That's what I heard from the office, and the northwest part was as well. I was building a deck, and it was beautiful. It was just kind of overcast. It hardly rained all weekend. It was phenomenal.
Oh, there you go. Well, you never know, right? That's the thing with Calgary. It's such a big city, you just never know from point to point. Sales to new listing ratio of 110%, pendings of 528. So that was down from last week, kind of in that 528 to 565 for the high. So kind of right on where we have been. Days on market stuck on 19, and our active and pendings then did go up slightly from last week to 3,217 or 3,217. It doesn't matter which way you say that one. So when we roll it back a year, what happened last year at this time was we had 690 total sales, 641 this year for a 7% decrease. New listings 756 last year, 805 this year for a 6% increase. And active listings at 3314, 3198 this year. We're almost flat. I mean, 3% difference. I know that is a little bit, but as I said last week, I think we're going to be very close to where we were last year for total inventory when we end the month. 924s for pendings last year, 737 this year. So that's down 20%. And then days on market last year was actually quite a bit higher. So it's a really interesting, when you keep looking back a year, it's very, very fascinating. The other thing I want to point out is, we talk a lot about dating the rate and marrying the house. And, there were stories on the interwebs this week about, house prices going up $6,000 in a month. Here in Woodbine, where I live, prices are up a point to 2 points every month. So, stretch that out. And we're not doomsdayers or naysayers or whatever. Those are just the numbers, right? So, Jaden, as we roll into interest rates, let's talk a little bit about dating the rate, marrying the house, because the reality is, I think maybe next week what we'll do, we'll do a projection, right? Like, let's say you wait 6 months, let's say you wait a year. I think that'd be a good exercise to do, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. We can look at what that does to your monthly payments, because we're not seeing a ton of rate movement right now, but there's been some significant things happening behind the scenes, right? So this is the same rates that you saw last week. It was the same rates that you saw 2 weeks ago. So there's not really any significant changes anywhere here. But there are interesting things happening, and so all of a sudden there's this mindset now, and I wonder if that has something to do with the May long weekend, but also there was inflation came in lower than expected. Again, we're at 2.7%. If you knock out the housing things that impact inflation, we're at below 1%. So really, the interest rates that are caused by Bank of Canada policy are the things that are causing inflation now. And so now all of a sudden, we're looking like we're on the verge of a June 5th rate decrease. When was I almost said rate hike again, because I'm so used to saying rate hike. But we could potentially be looking at a decrease on June 5th. But honestly, like you say, like if you're waiting until, like I'm a big believer that by the end of the year we'll be down at least 1%, potentially more than that. If you are waiting for that to happen, and your house has gone up by, how we say, if you're looking at Woodbine, if you're in a $600,000 house and it's going up 1% a month, you're looking at, with compounding, somewhere close to between 40 and 50 grand increase in price by the end of the year. I think you're absolutely right. Like, now you can't be focused on this slide. Of course, this is important. Of course, that the
Yeah.
rate is, but right now more than ever, the rate isn't the main factor in your buying decision, right? Like, we're going to
No,
structure
no.
things in a way that will save you money over the life of owning that home. But let's get you into that home and then structure that, because in
Yeah.
Calgary it continues to go up, and I don't think it's going to matter what happens with the economy. Alberta has such strong net migration, as we say, on a week-to-week basis, that
Yeah.
this housing market isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, and I think the numbers were like we dwarf. So both Calgary and Edmonton, and my friends up in Edmonton are run off their feet right now. And so similarly up there, but Calgary led the nation in interprovincial migration. Like when you look at a graph, it's actually hilarious. Like Toronto, just like I'll pull it up. I'll get it for next week, but it's crazy. So as long as we continue to see that, and even if it slows a little bit, which they are projecting for it to do,
Yeah.
that's still going to impact the housing market, because there's people that are going to want to buy, especially the interprovincial people, not so much international migration. But if you're coming from BC and housing prices are still half of what they are in Vancouver, you're coming here to buy. You're not coming here to rent. It would be my guess anyway.
Yeah,
Jane
absolutely.
would agree, I'm sure.
No, I'm used to Natalie kicking them, but no, absolutely, you're right, and that's what we're seeing from like the mortgage perspective as well. It's interesting to see that mortgages are down substantially in Alberta over the last 18 months because of that impact. People are selling these higher priced homes in Toronto and Vancouver and coming out here, and they're mortgage free when they get here.
Yeah, and we have a few examples of that. So very, very interesting. So we'll just close things off with some community events. So the same ones as last week. And what I want to do actually is I'm going to remove that slide, and I just want to share my screen here. Let's get to this one. So we have a good buddy, Mike Shepard, who him and his wife own Cobbs Adventure Park. And if you didn't see the news story, just a couple of 3 weeks ago, they had some horrible vandalism done to the park. And these guys are not running it as a profitable business. Like, this is a labor of love for them. So yeah, you get to pet kangaroos. So head out on to Cobbs. They're a rescue. So they have driven to Florida to rescue sloths. And I know we all joke about Florida, but people own exotic animals there. They rescue sloths. They've got a petting zoo. They got the games and rides, kids summer camp, so you could register for that. There's our buddy AJ, and they do that. So they rescue animals. Then they got stuff going on in fall. But let's. I just wanted to kind of pump them up a little bit this weekend as they are opening, and they're open. But they need our help with just getting people out there and putting the word out. So a big shout out to Mike and Maureen and all the good people at Cobbs. They do such a great job with exotic animal rescue, and I just wanted to give them a shout out today. Something that you may want to look at doing this weekend. Hey, Jaden?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And so we took my son there for a private tour on his 3rd birthday, and it's just one of those things that it's a memory that he'll always have, right? And so I think if you're looking, like, I go to a lot of birthday parties now, a lot of birthday
yes,
parties.
you do, yeah.
And so if you're looking for something that's different for your kids, because we're all doing these, there's great things to do in Calgary. It's not like when we were kids and it was Chuck E. Cheese or whatever. Lot of phenomenal things. This is something that is incredibly different, way different and it's not just the time with the animals. There's a lot of cool things for the kids to do while they're there as well. So really fantastic spot.
Fantastic. All right, so that is it for this week. Natalie will be back next week, and we'll be May 30th, so we won't have our monthly stats quite yet, but we'll do it the week after. And Jaden, you have a great weekend, and go Dallas.
Yes, go anything but Oilers.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, Oiler fans. But we'll see what happens. I guess we'll know more next week. All right, have a good week, everybody.